Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to try to build a helicopter with zero experience with building a helicopter in this game. My only experience with anything close to it is this propeller plane, which is pretty terrible, but I was gonna say, but it flies. I haven't demonstrated that quite yet right now, but theoretically this thing is totally capable of flying. We just need to get somewhere where we can take off, and that's the challenge, which is why I want to try to build a helicopter, because the big challenge with this thing is taking off, and because we got to take off like straight like this, but it keeps doing that. A helicopter, come on, here we go, there we go. All right, so look, we're flying now. We're perfect. This is a perfectly functional plane with no problems whatsoever. A helicopter, theoretically, is not going to have the same problems as my plane does, because we're going to be taking off straight up instead of having to take off forward. So these problems with hitting the ground shouldn't happen. But I've purposely avoided looking at the workshop in this game because I really want a true experience of just doing it on my own, just to see what happens, because I feel like that's the most likely for something crazy to happen, because I don't know what I'm doing yet. So let's hop into build mode and try to figure out what I'm doing. So my plan is to start from the propellers. So I think the easiest or the simplest way to build a helicopter is gonna be Chinook style, because we're gonna need to counter the torque of the rotation, and doing that stacked, I have no idea how I would do that. Without the propellers having connecting parts interfering with each other. Since I don't know how to stack propellers to have them counter rotate to cancel the torque, we're gonna separate those propellers, one in the front and one in the back, and hopefully it's that simple. So far, my experience with propellers in this game tells me it's not gonna be that simple whatsoever. Also, my experience with propellers in this game is that they are very, like, they're too fast. Like, they accelerate way too fast. So I'm gonna try to use the weakest engine, this one right here, and I don't want to use massive gears, but I am gonna need to have like a gear ratio that favors top speed and low torque. So hopefully we can just not freak out as soon as I press the throttle button. All right, so first things first, let's create the propeller. I gotta remember exactly how to do this. Yeah, I think just like that, right? This is gonna be a very long stick of a propeller sticking up out of the helicopter, unless I kind of build a frame that goes up through here. Yeah, that could work. All right, because of how strong the propellers tend to be, I'm going to only use a single set of these wings instead of extending them out by two. So the way I have these set up right now, assume that this is rotating clockwise from this perspective. So that matches and that matches, right? Yeah. All right, that should be one propeller. All right, now let's build our frame. We're gonna go out, give ourselves enough space so that we can add another propeller onto this thing. It looks like a little dinky propeller with, the blades do look a little short, don't they? But you know, maybe this is all we're gonna need. Okay, so this, how much space do I want? Do I want to leave room to have an extra extension here or not? Well, I guess I'll definitely go slightly conservative on the distance, so I have a little bit of guaranteed space between the propellers, because this only goes out 2 of these joiners here. So that means that this back propeller would go out to about here. And I would have all that space in between to maybe add like a small segment. Like if I add one of these sticks in here, I can then do, can I do this? No, I can't. I would have to do a 3 long like this. There we go. Then I can do that. And that goes out to the third one, which looks like if I'm building another propeller over here, I could add that and it would go out to here, leaving a 1 block gap. So there is potential for a single expansion here. Okay, so if this one is going clockwise, this one has to go counterclockwise, which means that direction. All right, so now I don't need this connection in between necessarily anymore. So this is where potentially the gearing comes into play. I'm gonna have each one is going to have an independent motor, I think is gonna be the best way to go. That way I can have the motors have inverted inputs, so I can guarantee that one's going to spin the opposite direction. Because the way this game handles gear directions is it sometimes automatically switches things up on you. And when it comes to something that's not obviously going in a forward direction, I don't know what the game's gonna do with that. So probably the simplest way to create a high accelerate or a high speed, low torque thing is to just use inline planetary gears, which I believe, is this the correct direction? Yeah, you can see the bottom axle here is rotating slower than the top axle there. I feel like I need at least 2 to have a better chance of having like a slower acceleration. All right, there we go. Now let's just duplicate that over here. Man, when this game gets copy and paste and the ability to move parts, productivity is going to skyrocket, just like this build when I'm done. Okay, so forward, space, backwards, control, forward, control, backwards, space. Now they are inverted, and I have WASD for air control, so I don't even gotta worry about that. Now I essentially need to build a functionally useless frame, but I'll try to make it visually resemble a helicopter. I'm not even gonna use a visual reference. I'm just gonna go from mental image to putting it down here, which I've always been so great at. I'm not an artist. The image in my head always looks way better than anything I put down on paper. And it's no different in building games too when I don't use a visual reference. Doing aesthetics is definitely not intuitive for me in this game, but I'm trying my best. So I've always been hesitant to do this because I assumed it was a recipe for disaster. But can you just use axles as structural pieces? Or is stuff on it going to tend to want to like flop around? That was my assumption, is like an axle isn't a stable attachment point. You only want to attach moving things to axles. But when it comes to stuff like this, what's gonna happen? All right, you know what? Before I even start, let me spawn this thing in and see what happens. Because like, should it be able to fly right now? Let's spawn at the helicopter landing site. Okay, why is it making that? Why is it making that noise? All right, I'm gonna press space and just hope for the best. Here we go. My engines aren't attached, but they're also literally not doing anything. It's probably because my engines aren't attached. If I go into build mode, it doesn't even tell me that my... Oh. I was gonna say they're highlighted red, but I think the engines are always red. Oh, they are attached, actually. Never mind, my engines are attached. So what's wrong? If I press space, it should have spun the motors. I'm actually not sure why they didn't spin. It's been a couple days since I played this game, but I don't think I forgot that much. Is this conflicting? It shouldn't let me build this here if it would conflict. I don't think it's conflicting. All right, well, some bad noises are happening. I'm gonna see what happens if I get rid of the visual collision there. Normally the game is pretty good with not allowing you to build stuff like this if it's if there's actual like a problem collision. So I think the way to do it is just move this connection point down and then just build up to there like that. All right, now there's no collision. So when I press the button, the engines, please rotate the things. All right, they don't rotate yet. Why isn't it working? I feel like there's either a super obvious answer that I really should know and I'm completely blanking on right now, or the game is actually not doing what I should expect it to do. So this rotate, clearly it rotates this, but it doesn't even start that, like that basic thing doesn't even happen when I press space. Let me try a different control. What if I just have it in normal controls? W and S. All right, ready? All right, that doesn't work either. Maybe it actually doesn't have enough torque. Here, I'm gonna get rid of this and just replace it with a single axle here. So now we only have one planetary gear. And let's see if that one can spin. All right, nope, that's not working either. See, in the build mode, it shows it capable of spinning. So I figure when I come in and press the button, it should spin. Otherwise, I feel like it shouldn't show that this is working here if there's an actual problem. I'm gonna do something weird here and slap a single wheel down. I guess it has to be on suspension. All right, adding a wheel didn't help. What if I just place an axle here with an engine? All right, the engine isn't even attached. But let's just spawn in and see if I press the normal buttons. See that? Why does that work? You know what? I'm now having some some vague memories of some comments saying that they had an issue with helicopters with getting the vertical axes to actually work, and they had to translate from horizontal to vertical. That might be my problem. I'm glad I tested this out before I built the whole chassis of the helicopter. Oh, this got way more complicated, but I'm gonna have to have angle gear. All right, there we go. So now this should rotate this horizontally, translate over to here. Now I just gotta reattach it. And then before I duplicate this, I'm just gonna confirm that it even works. All right, there we go. Now it's attached. Let's see if this is what I needed. All right, it doesn't seem to, that motor's not attached. The wheel spins, that motor doesn't actually seem to be spinning. But let me attach it and see if anything happens. I'm gonna get rid of this wheel now. There you go, now it's attached back to here, which is attached to here, which is attached over here. Add another attachment right here. All right, now it's also attached in the middle. Just wanna make sure that we're actually bracing the chassis here. All right, so that's on W and S. Let's see if pressing W and S spins it. Okay, there it is, and then... Why won't it rotate? It'll rotate a wheel, but it won't rotate this axle? I am very confused. The vertical engines don't seem to work, but this one's horizontal and it's not even rotating this. All right, if I delete that connection, does it rotate the axle by itself? All right, ready? No. Why do the exact engines that I need to work not work, but then when I put an engine that doesn't need to work, it works? Like, what happens if I slap an engine on this thing? And then that's it. Okay, that one's not doing anything. Not even spinning itself. See, this engine doesn't rotate the axle either. Why am I not, what am I not understanding? Oh, it rotates the axle now. Look at this. I slapped a wheel on it, and now the axle rotates. All right, is it the wheel, or is it the suspension? Let me delete the wheel. Let's try just the suspension. So there is something going on here where the game needs a certain qualification. All right, now it doesn't rotate. So adding the wheel made it rotate, and you can't put a wheel just by itself on the end of the axle. So I need to trick this into thinking that there's wheels here. That makes this very hard. Okay, so what I've done is I have attached this wheel onto this suspension, onto this axle, which goes through this engine, which rotates this, which should rotate that, and so on. Did I just trick this into working? All right. So yes and no. Everything works except the end point is not working for some reason. It's not actually rotating the propellers. Why isn't it rotating the propellers? What if we build it like why did my propellers rotate on my plane? Because I didn't have any wheels attached to those motors. Hold on. I don't understand why these would rotate, but the other ones wouldn't. I'm using the right part. All parts attached to this part will turn or spin with the power of the attached engine. So that attaches into here. So this whole thing should rotate, but it clearly doesn't. All right, well, in that case, I want to try something here. I'm going to duplicate my plane. I'm going to just try something. I'm going to try something weird. I'm going to essentially delete most of the plane and leave just the propellers and then see if this thing works. All right, so now this is essentially what I had with my helicopter, except a much different gear system, and it's sideways is the only other difference. Do the engines work? See, they do work. Why? Look at, what? This is really weird. Like, do I have to build a sideways helicopter? Is that what needs to happen here? Wow, you can really see these act as air brakes. Like, when you stop rotating them, they just catch the air and flip you behind. That could be a problem. So now, I don't know. I don't know why this works, because these engines aren't attached to wheels. I wish I could rotate this whole thing 90 degrees upwards. I can only rotate it horizontally. If I could rotate it upwards, I could just see if this would work. All right, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board. Let's try to go piece by piece and then confirm functionality along the way. I'm gonna pretend like I'm building a car, but then at some point, I'm just gonna do a 90-degree turn and go to a propeller engine. All right, so now you can see this thing should spin that gear, which should then spin this, which will then spin that, which will then spin this, which will then spin that very fast. Let's see if this works. This is like the simplest thing. Should work. I didn't attach the engine. Oh, it doesn't work. Is it planetary gears that's the problem? I've had this work before. Do planetary gears only work if you go out to an engine? Hold on. Let me go back and see if I remove the planetary gears. Let's just make this one solid axle instead. Uh-oh. I can't enter. I broke it. I can't click on free drive or career. I can't spawn this thing in. Car has errors. What kind of errors? Oh, this isn't attached. This isn't long enough. Okay. All right, now oh, it was the planetary gears. Why can't I use so it looks like maybe you can only use planetary gears if you have a wheel. Wait, let me remove the wheel now. Oh, well, confirmed, don't need a wheel. Just can't use planetary gears. Which means that I gotta come up with a different, more complicated system or I could just go with this, have a 1-to-1. But I know I need more speed. Man, that ruins my whole design. All right, I'm gonna start over. Took me almost an hour to figure out that my idea needed to be changed completely. And now I'm starting over from scratch, but learned something along the way. All right, here's our source of power. We got our middle little box here. Got an engine on this side for one propeller. We got an engine on this side for another propeller. Let's see if it works. All right, it does not work yet. What determines when it's gonna show you it causing a rotation? All right, so we're gonna have this medium gear go out to a small gear, which then rotates another medium gear. So this medium gear should be rotating faster than this medium gear. And that medium gear rotates a small gear, going out to another medium gear, which rotates a small gear, which then rotates this, which then rotates this. Actually, before I even do that, let's see, will this show me rotation now? I haven't quite figured out when it's gonna show me rotation. Right now, it's not showing me rotation yet, which I don't quite understand why. So like, if I have something sticking out here with this on it, will it rotate this? Oh, now suddenly it works. So it seems like it has to go out to some type of connector that does rotate. All right, so I think I'm on the right track now. All right, now if I add this to here, shouldn't it show that rotate? No, it shouldn't show it rotating, but does that rotate now? Okay, please tell me that this rotates. Yes! I can put my propeller there. Okay, we're on to something. Now I got an hour till I have an appointment, so can I finish this within an hour? I've already spent an hour getting to my starting point. All right, how do I build this again? I have one of these, and then I have one of these, then I have one of these, and one of these. And I guess, I don't know, this will be the clockwise one. This will be the counterclockwise one, because that's what I got first for my angle. All right, there we go. This one goes counterclockwise. Let's go ahead and, so space is backwards. Does this already rotate in the right direction? I can't tell which direction it's rotating in. That looks right. All right, now I've got to mirror this going down in the other direction. Oh no, if I do that, they're going to be offset from each other. This is not centered. Oh no. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I need this to be over here, which means I just need to... No, that's not simple. Oh, these actually conflict. That rotates that, which rotates that, which rotates that. This gets extended. Then this rotates that, which means this oh, this fixes everything. Then this small one goes there. But now all of this has to get deleted because I need to move it over by a block. And you can see that is centered in between the two engines, which means when I do this the other way, it's also going to be centered. All right, and then this is how I attach it to the frame. I think we're good now to rotate this. All right, now this is going clockwise. All right, does this rotate in the right direction? I don't know. Well, this actually seems like yes, more so than the other time I did it. I can't actually see if it's rotating in that direction or not, but judging by the lift I got, I'm gonna say, yeah, it is. All right, now to duplicate it. Dowel goes over there. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. This should technically get us up in the air now. Let's see how it goes. And why am I spinning? I feel like I shouldn't be spinning. I thought I had them reversed. Let's double check. Well, so maybe because it's mirrored, maybe they actually shouldn't be reversed. I don't know. Let me change the controls of this one. I feel like we fixed the spinning issue, but now I don't know which way is forward because I'm symmetrical. But one of them is not getting lift. I don't even know what's going on. Which one's not getting lift? All right, I need to, here, let's paint the front. Or let's paint the front. Okay, so that's my front. The front needs to be spinning in the other direction. Well, no, it doesn't need to be, these need to be flipped in the other direction, I believe. That's weird. I totally thought, it looks like I actually did have them facing the same direction as the other one. I must have just confused in my head which direction I was supposed to be going. All right, so this is behaving as it should behave. All right, there we go. So now that goes that direction. Okay, all right, it's fixed now. Just being a dum-dum is all. Okay, so now we have the problem is the drag that they create. They act like braking parachutes on dragsters. Just as soon as I stop, there's like poof. Whatever direction I'm going in, it wants to be behind when they're not going. But like, it looks like it's gonna work really, really well. I can think of a solution to that, but it's gonna be a big problem. It's gonna be a problem no matter what. So my solution that I was thinking of was underneath my build, I would add a bunch of aerodynamic resistance so that takes priority. So that way when I stop, instead of flipping over, the priority will actually be on the bottom. But the issue is then when I start coming down like this and just floating, I'm gonna have a tendency to flip upside down because the bottom will still be priority. So that only solves one direction. Why is it shaking now? It wasn't doing that before. Wait, why is it shaking now? Oh, let's respawn. I swear it wasn't shaking like that before. I mean, we have like a proof of concept here. What if I swap these out? Because these have what? Downforce 1000. This isn't gonna fit quite the same. These have downforce 60. Oh wait, 100? Downforce 100 versus 60. Okay, I think the image is showing the wrong number. All right, I'm switched to the smaller ones. This definitely feels kind of more reasonable. I might go with this. My yaw is, or my roll is really terrible. Honestly, probably, I was gonna say probably due to the gyroscopic nature of these. I was gonna say I figure forward and back should also be subject to the similar gyroscopic forces, but because of the shape of it, maybe not. I don't know. There's a lot going on here force-wise. This is a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be for flying. Like getting it, everything is a lot harder. Making it function and making it all functional in the first place was more of a challenge than I expected. But now that it is functional, controlling it actually is really, really challenging. At least with the natural WASD air controls. All right, but now let's try to like, I don't know, build somewhat of a frame. All right, these helicopter blades are suddenly looking way inadequate after I've built a weird body. I feel like this looks like a flying boat, but let's see if I can still fly with the weight I've added. I probably can. It's just, this is gonna look so weird. All right, and here we go. I'm actually really impressed with this thing so far. You know what? I am actually really impressed with this thing. Uh-oh. What? It's better. It's better with all the added pieces. But then if I stop... Okay, you know what? It's actually doing not too bad. I'm gonna put the big propellers back on. I think I was just too light before. Now that I have more mass, I think it can hold its it can hold its orientation a lot better. All right, slightly bigger blades, only slightly though. All right. Wow, lot more speed. Turning is actually like better with all the weight. I wouldn't have expected that. This is way better than my plane though. Like this is what I was expecting, kind of, was just that taking off was going to be so much easier. Now the problem is we can't like we can't slow down our speed on our propellers. I have to like feather the throttle like this, which works, but once I'm at a really high speed and then I stop, they have an air brake effect where they completely change the direction that I'm facing, which could be kind of cool. The like the way to mitigate that is to kind of like feather the throttle through the slowdown, but it's not ideal. Let's see if we can land this thing on the helipad. Oh, okay, I'm having a lot of trouble reorienting. There we go. Some tail fins might help. I don't know. That actually might make turning harder. All right, there we go. Now that I'm reoriented at a slower pace, this should be easier. All right. There we go. And look at that. A landing with no damage. Can we tone down the helipad a little bit? I don't think it needs to be giving off light like this. It's really extreme up here. It's really bright. I can see it, okay? Maybe just like some lights, some little lamps, little LEDs around the edge of the edge of the helipad. All right, I'm gonna give this thing some tail resistance because I don't know. I just want to see what happens. All right, so now I got that. I don't know what else to do. I don't really know the purpose of what I'm doing here, but I'm just gonna add some of that there and here in the back. Maybe just give myself some extra gliding resistance when I do turn my throttle off. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Does this affect my flight in any meaningful way? All right, here we go. So now what it should do is whatever direction I'm going in, it should try to keep me more in that direction and prevent me from yawing out. And it is feeling like it's doing that. Actually, everything seems... Wait, this seems to have fixed... It's so much better. Like now when I stop... Oh, I'm jittering. Why do the jitters just get added in? All right, anyway, but now when I stop, I don't flip over. This literally fixed my flipping over issue just like that. Look at this. I can turn my rotors off and slow down without having the air brake effect. Okay, a little bit of an air brake effect there. It depends on my orientation, but it really does help. You know, oh, I got an idea. This might look a little bit weird at first, but just trust me on it. I'm gonna add some landing gear, but the landing gear is gonna be these. I'm thinking that these will add some drag to the bottom of me, so when I do slow down, it prevents flipping, unwanted flipping. And I know you guys have been seeing it too. I just haven't said anything about it. Don't worry. I'm going to paint the one part that I didn't paint. All right, let's spawn out the helipad. Let's do a helicopter thing. All right, there we go. We take off. I keep forgetting which side is forward. We're taking off in this direction. All right. I'm going to fly under the bridge. That's how good this helicopter is. This is actually a really good vehicle. This is way better than my plane. This flies so much more like I would want it to fly. The plane does weird things. All right, but when I slow down again, what's going to happen here? Look at that, no problem. Those fins really do a good job at stabilizing. Look at this. This thing is so stable now. This is like a legitimate aerial vehicle, I feel like. Here, let's try to land on this. I just wish I could like trim my throttle. All right, come on. Come on here. All right, let's go down gentle. Okay, you know what? There is a downside. I feel less stable at slower speeds. It's a lot harder to orient myself at slower speeds. For some reason, like the roll doesn't work as well at slower speeds. It's a lot less predictable, but there we go. That was an okay landing. Lost a little bit somewhere on my tail. All right, if I'm here, I'm pressing forward, right? Oh, okay, now all of a sudden it worked. Yeah, it's really weird. Like I'll hold forward and nothing happens, and then all of a sudden it happens. All right, let's go to this building. Oh, it's really surprisingly hard to stabilize out, to control myself. Like air control doesn't really work when I'm at slower. It's working great now, but when I'm like hovering like this, now I'm holding forward. Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to describe the lack of responsiveness from when I'm pressing buttons to when I'm seeing the results. But I can promise you that when I'm tilting in a way I don't want to be tilting, I am pressing the opposite button, and then all of a sudden it just clicks in and overdoes it like that. Okay. There we go. There was a landing with no damage, but it was really hard. When I have the throttle held down, all of my controls feel extremely natural. And then when I let go, it still is working. But when I start feathering the throttle at a low speed, now the controls do not work the way that you would want them to work. And I don't know why that is. It's really strange. Oh, maybe it's I think I know why it is. It's because when I get closer to the ground, I think there's some type of threshold between when I'm on the ground and when I'm off the ground. There's a buffer zone that turns off the WASD controls. So I think that's why I'm getting that issue. So right now it's probably just going to be really, really good controls. And then as I get closer to the ground, now I can't do it anymore. I can't go forward anymore until I get up. That's the problem. Yeah, because air controls don't actually do anything when you're in contact with the ground. And I guess it also applies to a couple of feet off the ground as well. But as long as I'm in the air, this thing flies great. I love how easy, like this is so much easier to go where I want to go than my plane. The big thing is that when I release the throttle, I just kind of stay steady. I stay stable. Releasing and activating the throttle on my plane caused huge pitching issues. This thing does not experience those, which is really nice. I'm actually having a lot of fun just flying this thing around. I don't think, is there, can I go under there, do you think? Ooh, there's a chance. Oh, that one doesn't have a brace. That one would probably be too easy though. I'm gonna try to go under the one with the brace just to see how much control can I really get out of this thing. All right, here we go. Oh boy, I gotta get kind of close to the ground. Oh my goodness, look at that, first try. That's how easy this thing is to control. It's like really a legitimate helicopter. I don't even have yaw, I just have pitch and roll built into the air control, but it's plenty enough to get some decent controllability out of this thing. Like we can do banking. Like, look at that. I thought I was gonna wipe out there, but it immediately became easy to counteract what was happening. All right, what about like zooming through the city? Whoa. Okay, I overdid it there. I just bit off a little bit more than I could chew, but I'm still kind of functional. Lost some fins. Oh, I just pooped out one of my own pieces. All right, well, this went from, I didn't think this was gonna happen to this is the best thing I built in this game. So I'm pretty happy with that. This thing actually turned out great. So, yeah, that's it. So I think it's finally time to head into the workshop in the next video, because I've done all the things that I wanted to do to figure out on my own and just learn and teach myself. And now, when I go into the workshop, I know I'm going to get extremely humbled and discouraged about all the amazing things that people are actually capable of that know what they're doing, which is why I was avoiding it, because I probably wouldn't have been very motivated to build this if I saw... if I saw things that were a million times better than what I was even capable of. But in contrast to what I've experienced in this game so far, this thing's amazing because I've only experienced my other mediocre builds. So what stuff should I look for? I'm just gonna look for all the best stuff in the workshop initially before I'm gonna do a variety thing. I think is gonna be the best way to do it. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you do not miss those future episodes. If you guys enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy some more that you can find right here on the end screen. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.